All right, we live. I was sick all week last week. That's why I wasn't here. I'm still a little off now, but make it work. Make sure I'm on. I was sick all week. Okay. Yeah, I hear myself. So I was sick, man. So yeah, if anybody tunes in, thanks. What's up, Resales? What's up, man? What's up, DMG? Yeah, I was sick last week, man. It's this bug going around. It wasn't like a horrible sickness. I just had a bad fever, but like as far as like super bad congestion and shit like that, it was actually pretty it wasn't bad at all. But it's I had this real horrible headache, man. It was like I had a bad headache and a bad fever. And that's two things. Like when I was a little kid, like I never got that shit when I was a little kid. Like when I was a little kid, man, I fucking I would just get like a regular cold, regular stomach flu, and that was it. I never had bad fevers as a kid, never had headaches, never had, severe any, moderately to severe. I always heard stories of other guys like having real bad fevers, and they said how they would hallucinate and shit like that, or have like really absurd or weird dreams. I never really had any of that as a kid. All this is starting to hit me as a 30, over 35-year-old man. I'm 37. All this stuff is starting to hit me now. So it was like kind of freaking me out a little bit. So I talked to my dad, I think last Thursday or Friday. And we talked about it. He said, yeah, like as a kid, you never got he said the same thing. I never had any maybe some ear infections, something like that, but I was never really like the sicknesses I'm getting now is definitely flipped. Because like I said, I had a horrible fever. Fever wasn't Celsius. I was at 39. I was at 39 degrees Celsius, which in Celsius 40 is like you're in like real bad territory. I was at 39 and just had a horrible headache, man. Like couldn't sleep. I was sleeping like maybe like an hour and 10 minutes at a time, kind of thing. It was just really fucked up. But but I'm definitely functional now. Just still a little off, but functional. What's up, Andre Williams? I'm in New York. Oh, what's up? You in New York? I was watching a YouTube clip this morning about scam artists trying to take the Metro card from people to ride the air train or something like that. Is that what they call it? Like I never knew that's what they called it, but I used to have. I kept my Metro card as like a souvenir when I would go to New York. But little yellow thing, little like it was a yellow and blue, I think it is. But yeah, I seen some scam artists. I was watching the scams going on in New York City this morning. There's a lot of mentally ill people in the metro. Yeah, it's yeah that's the difference. Like, especially like where I am here, and like, well, New York is definitely its own different situation than I think most of the rest of North America. Um, New York is definitely in its own. Like I've always said since for forever that New York is pretty much the closest you'll get to like experiencing life outside of North America. Like New York is pretty much it. Like California, not so much in my opinion. I mean, it's still California is different, but it's still America. It's still like pretty solid American. Whereas like New York City is like really that sense of like it's like a Prague type of thing. Like you know, it's just really something just different compared to the rest of North America. That's always been my opinion on it. Um, but yeah, the whole metro thing, yeah. Like if you don't go in a metro and it doesn't, if you go in a metro and it doesn't smell like piss, like something's wrong, something's up. You be like, wait a minute, it doesn't smell like body odor and piss down here. What happened? That's New York City, man. But I love you. You got okay. Here's a. I'm talking bad. You, you gotta love New York. You gotta love New York at some point. right? For some reason, I always talk shit about everywhere and everybody, but yeah, I love New York. Like, you have to love New York. The only reason why I don't go to New York, the reason why I didn't choose to stay in New York, was because the second time I went, I actually found a job pretty fast. Because I was like, yeah, this time I'm gonna. Because I went one time before with some other friends. I was just telling this one girl about this story. The first time I went to New York, I was some friends of mine. They went on the show America's Best Dance Crew. It was like ABDC or some shit like that. And that was back when the Jabberwockies was like the shit. And they was like, yeah, when the we getting ready to go to New York, you want to come with us? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, and we rode this busted ass van that looked like, I'm not even joking, man. This van was one of those kind of vans, like, you'd be scared to ride that motherfucker downhill. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a piece of shit. And we rode that motherfucker to New York and back. That's what you do when you be fucking 20. God, we had to have been, at that time, 20. Just 20 years old and dumb as fuck. Like, that's what you just do in them, you mean, in them years. You do that. Now I'd be like, nah, I'm cool, bro. I just sit right here. But back then, I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? We rode that motherfucker out there. I remember one of the guys who went there, he was snoring real bad, so I went to go sleep in the van because we had a hotel room. And that's a long story, but he was snoring so bad, I went and slept in the van. I couldn't do with it. His name was Cliff. I wonder what happened to Cliff, because he was a cool guy, man. He was just a big dude, and he snored real bad. And he wasn't built for New York. I remember that, man, because we stayed on what's the little island? Is it Staten Island? I'm fucking horrible in this. But our hotel, we stayed in a Holiday Inn. I think it was a Holiday Inn there, and it was like $500 for like a night, and it was like, you know, it had two what do you call it, twin beds in it. You know, it was $500 a night there, right? So of course we didn't have any money for another hotel room, so we all just like got one. But he was a big dude. Cliff was a big dude, right? He was like a big dude. You know what I mean? He's like American big guy, like, you know, fat as fuck, ain't trying to walk like that type of fat, right? But he was cool. Like, everybody loved Cliff. Like, he was a real good dude. But he wasn't about that walking life, bro. So when we got there, I remember, yeah, he didn't leave the hotel room the whole time. He stayed in the hotel room. And he got mad at me one time, right? He got mad. I remember he got mad at me because I went out and so it was about 6 or 7 of the main guys, and it was like 2 girls and like 4 or 5 guys. They were in the actual dance crew to go. They were in Times Square in this dance studio, which is to be honest, it was a beautiful studio. I went up there with them the first time, and it was a beautiful, like, you went up there and you seen all over Times Square. It was amazing. But they would go down there like all day and just dance. I mean, they be just popping all day. They just did that shit all day. So your boy AD was look, Cliff he couldn't walk around like that. So I would just go walk around throughout the city like on my own. And so I remember one time I came back to the hotel room. At some point you just get tired of walking. You know what I mean? Especially you ain't used to that shit. So I came home and I brought some peaches. And he got mad because I brought peaches. He's like, what am I do with some peaches? Because he fat. You know what I mean? This motherfucker with fried chicken and, you know what I mean, roast beef. He don't want no fruit and vegetables. That shit, you know what I mean? But at the time, I ain't think about that. You know what I'm saying? But to him, yeah, that was offensive to him. Now, see, nowadays, he can claim fat shaming or some shit now. How media, back then, he couldn't do that. So he just had to just get mad. You know what I mean? Like, the peaches, fruit. I ain't trying to eat this. Give me something with grease and oil, motherfucker. So I don't know what he did for food, because this was before the days of Uber Eats. I mean, we ain't had that shit. The Uber Eats, that was a long way away at this point. There wasn't no smartphones, nothing like that at this time. It was flip Nokia. You was gangster if you had a flip Nokia that had a stripe of blue just light up when you got a text message. Like, that was the hottest shit back then. Right? Shit was awful. But back then, you was the man if you had some shit like that, right? But yeah, Uber Eats, we was about 10 years off from Uber Eats. Uber Eats. Out here they got Wolt, which is it's just their version of Uber Eats. Um, but yeah, Cliff was mad. Cliff didn't leave he didn't leave the hotel room the whole time. He stayed in. I mean, we are in New York City, and you are sitting in this hotel room by yourself all day, just watching TV and eating. Like for real. Like, see, now at 37, now I'm the type of dude I'll be on that shit now. Cause for example, me and a buddy of mine, we went to Vegas when I went back, and I don't like Vegas. First time wasn't bad. Second time I hated it. Now when we went back to Vegas, I literally just went to a dispensary with him that because it was his first time in Vegas, so he had never seen this shit, right? So I had already seen it. In my opinion, once you've seen Vegas one time, unless you like to gamble, I think it's a horrific waste of time to go. That's just my personal opinion. Which if you don't feel that way, I'm glad that you like it. But from my perspective, if you seen it once, you don't really need that guy. Unless you just like to gamble, or unless you just really like the atmosphere of gambling, you don't really need to go back, right? I think it's a horrific waste of time. But I think with that being said, I think everybody should at least go to Vegas one time, right? Just to put in your data banks of some shit that you've seen, right? And know. So I remember I went with the buddy of mine who I was renting my flat to in Ohio. And as soon as we got there, I was like, I immediately thought, man, I just want to go home. This was a mistake, right? I just want to go home. And he was paying for everything because the company, because he's kind of a higher up in that gym, so like he could just buy whatever the fuck he wants. So he paid for most of the shit, man. But I really didn't want to be there. And I remember I went to a dispensary. And I got so fucked up off some edibles that night, like fucked up, because I had never done edibles. I'm not a weed smoker, like a weed smoker type. I'm not a smoker. I remember I got so fucked up. We went from one dispensary to another, and I remember I sat down in this chair, and I remember panicking because I didn't know if I could get out. I could stand back. I didn't know if I could stand back up again. And I remember just being like in complete terror. Like I'm not gonna be able to get out of this chair, bro. I'm too fucked up. So I remember some kind of way I got out the chair. I don't remember much, but I remember we ended up standing outside waiting on an Uber, and like I swear to God, it felt like the floor, the ground was like. It felt like I was like standing at like a right angle, like the whole time type of shit, right? And the buddy of mine, he was eating these little vanilla wafer edibles, and he was eating them like potato chips, like it was nothing, like because he was a weed smoker, so maybe he can handle it. I couldn't. So I went back. I remember when I went back to the hotel room. I pulled out my Nintendo Switch and I finished Mario Odyssey. That was actually where I finished Mario Odyssey. It was in Vegas. And I just stayed in the hotel room. I just didn't want to go. I had no, because you got okay. From my perspective of going back to Vegas, right? I'm coming to Vegas from seeing Europe and seeing Show Park, and seeing brothels, and I'm coming from a land where you could fuck a 10, in my opinion, especially compared to American women, you can fuck a 10 out of 10 for $50, $60, right? I'm coming from that back to the US and our shit, and it was just like in terms of what you can do for a certain price of money and all that, like Vegas was even that much more of a downgrade to me, right? It was that much more of a way. Even though I talk a lot of shit about Europe, so like some things Europe just flat out does immensely better, and just social life and social things you can get into, Europe just tramples North America. So Vegas was a huge waste of time for me. I was severely bored with it, and I just stayed in the bed. I would do a couple edibles, and I just laid in the bed and played Mario Odyssey. I remember because I was leaning over and I felt like I was like vomiting a rainbow the whole time, right? I felt like a rainbow was just pouring out of my mouth while I was playing Mario Odyssey. And that's what I did the whole time. I didn't leave. I didn't leave much the second time. The first time we walked around a lot, but I went with somebody else the first time. But the second time, I think a few times I walked down the street to I can't think of the name of the hotel now, but I said they had this area where you could just watch football, and I would just order scotches and just watch football, and that was it. I really didn't enjoy Vegas. I think Vegas is a huge waste of time. Did you play new Spider-Man? No, and I'm still on the fence about spending the money for a PlayStation 5 because I just don't. So I did get the money from the YouTube, and I still have the money set aside for the PlayStation 5. Personally, here's the thing, and I still feel bad about this because I feel like I lied to people. With the PlayStation 5, I am still just not sure that is an intelligent purchase, right? Oh, based off of my situation, I'm not sure. Do I want to play Spider-Man 2? Yes, I do want to play Spider-Man 2. Now, with Spider-Man 2 comes the issue of the whole Miles Morales thing. I have never liked Miles Morales. I think Miles Morales is terrible. There's nothing about him I like. And I don't want to play half the game hearing, "Hey, Pete, Pete, I gotta get to the train. Hey, Pete." Like, I don't want to hear that whiny fucking shit. Right? I could barely do with Peter Parker being, having low self-esteem and shit. Now I got to hear two of these motherfuckers run around. "Hey, Pete, I gotta get to the train. Pete, but Pete, I gotta get, Spider-Man." I don't, I'm not interested. If there was a way you could turn off just all Miles Morales shit. I don't want to play as Miles Morales. I don't want to know anything about him. I'm cool. Because I remember when they came out with Miles Morales, he was only in the comics. And I never liked him from the beginning. There was never anything. Then they try to get him like I think he has like he could turn invisible now, and he's like electricity. He's like, okay, like this is just too much. Like I'd rather the motherfucker had no powers and he just be a fucking Nightwing or some shit like that instead of now you're like, so what is this motherfucker like? It's just a cash grab to try to get minorities in it, man. Like, and I'm just not for that shit. I just never cared for Miles Morales. I don't want to play it. I've never played his part of the PlayStation, even though it looks great. As far in the PlayStation 4 DLC, or what do you call it? I guess technically it's DLC, but I just don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear him. Is there an option you can maybe make the game in French or some shit like that? I just don't want to hear that whiny bitch. "Hey, Pete, I gotta get my homework done. I can't go outside. I gotta be Spider-Man. Oh, I'm Spider-Man, but my life is just so complicated." Like, I don't want to fucking hear that shit, man. Like, I want to see. Okay, do I want to see Venom? Of course, I want to see Venom. I don't even want to know if you can play as him. I don't want to know. But I seen the boss fight with the lizard. I thought that looked great. Like I want to play. Yeah, I want to play. I just don't want to play as Miles Morales. And then on top of it, the only other game that I know I'm gonna be interested in is Gran Turismo 7. But it's like, okay, is a whole $500 console really worth two games? So essentially I'm gonna spend fucking $700 for two games, right? And it's like, is that really? Is that really worth it? On top of that, I got to bait a toddler now. This little motherfucker's starting to get. Well, I can still calm me down, but what I'm worried about is when he's gonna be here with mommy and I'm not here. So I'm gonna have a PlayStation 5 here with this little motherfucker starting to do more, interesting shit. And I'm gonna come home and something's gonna be broke. I'm waiting on these TVs to be broke when I come home one day. Because mommy is just gonna be mommy and oh, it's okay, dear. So it's like it's just too many cards playing against me. What I would call an investment that would just have to sit out in the open, right? Like, there's a baby. What's up, Mike? It was good to see you too, man. Yeah, I was sick last week, man. What's up? What's up, Anthony? I was sick last week. It's this bug going around. I had a horrible fever, awful headache, but I'm good now. Well, I'm much better. DMG says I live in California right now. I'm from the UK, but California has like ghetto parts, but there's no banks in the ghetto, and you don't find riffraff in Beverly Hills because it's in the hills. Word up. Happy left the UK is getting bad. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of shit about the UK, man. I don't know. I don't have I don't have deeper connections there, but everything I'm getting from the UK, man, like yeah, it sounds like shit's getting pretty fucking rough. But I don't know. I'm just talking from strictly reading for the most part. Cause here's the thing. Everybody who I end up knowing from the UK are usually end up being like well off motherfuckers. You know what I mean, like so like I don't have that sense of like the working man perspective from the UK. Any and everybody who I know out of there even now they're more well off people. They're not like the working class. I can't afford to pay my rent next month type shit. No, everybody I know is like is they rent or mortgage payment. That's the least bit of their worries. You know what I mean? So like I'm coming from only kind of just like reading and hearsay from the UK. Let's see. People slit your throat. Jesus Christ. Facts. I'm still not sold on it yet. Cam, yo, and here's the thing, Cam, that boy. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. But yeah, maybe I just got like maybe I'm just trying to seek for validation. But I notice a lot of people who get the PS5 and they end up like selling the PS5 to go get something else not long after it. Like, or maybe it's just me going out there looking for that. Maybe it's me like subconsciously trying to seek validation in my choice, and so that's all I'm seeing. So I'll happily admit that. But yeah, with the PlayStation 5, it's just nothing like because I didn't care for Horizon Zero Dawn. I played it. I remember I had it, and I hated the voice. I hated that voice acting so much that I just changed it to French. Um, and the French voice acting, in my opinion, wasn't bad. It was good. But the American, like I just wish they would stop hiring these Cali white bitches to do voiceovers for shit. I really wish every and all media would just stop doing that. I just find it annoying. I just hate that just they always hire these Cali white bitches or Cali white dudes to be like, yeah, I'm having a tough time, but I can prevent. Like it's just not convincing, and just always just rips me out of the whole feeling like I'm being challenged kind of thing. Just stop hiring these Cali white bitches to struggle and they voiceovers. It doesn't work. Just stop. That's why Red Dead Redemption 2 did so well. That Arthur Morgan dude, that was a real dude. You know what I mean? A real working class motherfucker. He wasn't as far as I know, that motherfucker wasn't, he was a real dude. That's why, and he did an excellent job. Was it Arthur Morgan? The guy who did his voice. He did a great fucking job. But yeah. Yeah. But yeah, with the PlayStation, I'm just like I didn't care for Horizon Zero Dawn. Here's the thing with Horizon Zero Dawn. Like I love to watch other people play it. Like and I love the idea of it of like dinosaurs that are kind of mixed with this like mechatronics kind of thing. I love that theory. I love the idea of it. I remember when I had it on PS4. There was one cool early on boss fight. It kind of like I can't remember. I'll do a horrible job describing it, but what just really stood out to me that I just couldn't look past in Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, one, the voice acting, but I changed that to French, and then two, the enemy AI when it came to like physical fighting when you had to like take over these camps. There was like people. I remember it was like some type of people. It's been a long time since I played it, but like the AI, it's like it was just too janky. Like all you had to do was like just run to a certain spot, and they would just never fucking come over there. Like it was like an invisible fence kind of thing. They just wouldn't come. It was like what like that's all I gotta do. So the whole game just ended up me just just cheesing the whole fucking thing kind of thing. But I didn't care for the physical fight. Like all that just felt awful. It like when I think you had like a bow and arrow, you could like swing the bow or something, but it just didn't feel right. Like nothing. And on top of that, like the story, like I just wanted to know like how these dinosaurs, how life ended up like that. And the story just dragged on way too long that I just lost all interest in it. I like the I really like the idea that you can climb that walking like bronchiosaurus, whatever you might call it, with the long neck, it was like a big ass giraffe. I like the idea that it would move, and I love that idea. You can like climb it to like you pretty much go to Assassin's Creed, like seek out the area kind of thing. I thought that was great, um, and I think it looked great. I think yeah, on PS4 it was a little iffy. Not because it looked bad, but just again, like it was just some I don't know. But the story, man, the story for me and Horizon, it just dragged. I'm sure the story finally caught on and probably amounted to something, but it just dragged on. It really felt like Assassin's Creed. Like the story just kind of just dragged on with no real direction of where to go. And as soon as you kind of got a little direction, all that just fell apart for something else. And the story just never really to me it just never gained any worthwhile momentum. So I just lost all interest and just never touched it again. Um and then it's like okay, for every other game that could possibly come out, I could just play it on PC. If it's a game, I'm doubting, I could just pirate the shit, or if I just want to buy it on Steam, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just got other options on PC, so it's like there was just no reason for me to spend the money on the play. I just for me in the PlayStation 5, there's just now if there was a console, I would probably, but I would have a better chance getting the Xbox Series X because I have Xbox Game Pass, right? So like that would make more sense for me. But the PlayStation 5 is just kind of so secluded. One, because they're not on like any type of Game Pass scenario, and then two, it's just not very many games that are just directly for it that are that can really sell it, that are a strong sales point. I just don't have any reason to. I just can't find a legitimate reason to spend it, to buy it, and I feel bad about it because I raised the money for it and I never bought it, but the money's still there. Um, but I can't find. There's just nothing convincing about the console. Then they came with that little fucking handheld thing that's just like a fucking iPad with a PlayStation controller on it. It's just pathetic. Like, just stop. Just I'm a fan school of old school Japanese animation, so I got the new. I don't even know what that is. Grins. Let me Google that. Let me Google that. Y'all can't see, but I'm gonna Google grins. What's how you spell that? Grendizer? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I like anything. I could tell by the cover. It looks like some almost Voltron Megazord type shit. By the look at that, I'm always interested in robot games anyway, like automatically. So let me see what a screenshot of it looks like. Okay. Looks kind of like a Dragon Ball Z. Is it like Dragon? It looks like a Dragon Ball Z game from the screenshots I'm looking at. If you have Game Pass, you don't need an Xbox. You play. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. PSV. Yeah, well, yeah. What I was saying is, yeah. Since I have a PC Game Pass, like Xbox would just make more sense for me because I could just sync this shit up or just play it on the Xbox. Because my PC is not the strongest PC, so like the Xbox would be a step up in that in terms of like gaming power. But yeah, but yeah, it's way older than Voltron. I don't even know what it is. I never even heard of it. UFO robot Grendizer Feast of the Wolves PS5. It looks like from the screenshots I see, it's looking like a type of a dragon, like a Dragon Ball Z. It looks like like that Dragon Ball Z kind of look to it, but I don't know. I've never heard of this at all. And that's the beauty about Japanese games, man. And that's where I think the PlayStation 2 left off. And we've never gotten back to that area because America kind of like Americanized everything and just severely monetized everything to the point where now everything's just Call of Duty, and Grand Theft Auto 5 or shit like that. The beauty about Japanese games is that you know something that I don't know, or I know something that you know, like, like it's still that beauty of like finding like something there. Whereas like in most American media now, it's just everything's just the same shit, right? We still do. I mean, we have that theory, but I think in our culture, it's much harder to continue to find it. But yeah, with the PlayStation 2, to this day, man, I'm still hearing about other games that I've never even heard of. Cause I'll watch like guys say like the top best 100 PS2 games that you never heard of. I'm like, what the fuck is that? One was like a game where like you was in space and you can transform into like a spaceship into like a Megazord and be fighting in space. I had never heard that game, and I copied it somewhere and put it because I want to play that. And never heard of it. What's up, August Line? Yo, Snipefeather, 80, I sent a tip and subscribe star. Please watch the link I sent. Snipefeather's my... Yo, I seen it. Yeah, I've been sick. I did see that you sent it, and I've been sick, man. And I'm not going to stay on too late today. I'm going to get off in about 30 minutes because my throat is still not right. I'm only going to stay on for about an hour. So I'll do requests tomorrow. I just wanted to do a live stream just to kind of like check in, but yeah. I'm definitely not gonna stay on too late. And this is the new book I'm reading, cause I went to the library. Let me just leave it up. So I went to the library, and in the biology library is by far the best library, I think, for my interest, right? And so what they do is they'll give away free books. If they have like duplicates of books, they just put them in a box and you can just take them for free, right? And so my favorite area of study is parasites. I think parasites are fucking so amazing that people just won't believe you if you tell them what parasites can do. It really is. Parasites is really one of those things that those motherfuckers, parasites are so wild. Like horror movies don't even get close to, for the most part, horror movies won't even get close to what parasites do. And I think parasites are very interesting. Well, yeah, that's my number one favorite area of study. Then I'll kind of like trickle off into other areas. Like I finished last week. Before I got sick, I finished a book on theories of time, and what was the other book? Theories of time. I can't remember what the other one was now. But because I had to go back to the physics library, and because the physics library so in Prague, the university physics library and the university biology library, they're like literally like on both sides of where my son was born, right? They're like, you got to walk past that hospital to get to both of them, right? So I'll usually stop by both. Since my favorite is the biology library, I'll just stop by the physics library. I can't remember what the other book was I had, but yes, but yeah. So I went to the biology library and just got a bunch of free books. But the weird part is the biology library, it's not just biology. They have all types of shit in there. But yeah, this book is studying just like the weird little parts of Czech Republic in 1986. Well, no, technically it was like 1984 to 85, and this speech was done in 1986. Can you see that? Yeah, 1986. and so they were going over how, and so what they would do is they would study like the Czechs versus the Slovakians, and so it's pretty interesting. But one thing I told my girl is one thing I told, well, my spouse. One thing I told her is that, like, I actually started to get a little scared, right? Because all the data I ever find on Czech Republic always leads to Czech Republic being like exactly average. Like, I've always been saying Czech Republic is eternally average, right? But they want to be better, but they're just stuck in average. And in that book, even when it comes down to the measurement of like the people's heads, right? Like the measurement of the head, they were literally exactly average, right? Even like the little shit, they would be like they're just stuck in mediocrity, right? And I just thought that was, at first I thought it was funny. Now I started getting kind of scared, like thinking, wait a minute, like this, is there really something more to this shit? Like these motherfuckers are consistently average, even on biological shit. Like they can't escape it. They just completely average. But yeah, make sure this is, yeah. What do you think about Marvin flopping? What do you think about why Marvel is flopping with their movies? Well, it's, that Captain Marvel shit was a fucking joke when it came out the first time. That shit was awful. Looked like they filmed that shit in their backyard. That shit was terrible. Like, there's just no way. Like, but here's the thing. Like, I get, like, the makers, they gotta do whatever Marvel or Disney tells them to do. Like, they don't really have a whole lot of control. So I want to make that clear first. Like, I'm not on that whole shit of like everybody's in control of all that shit. But yeah, that Captain Marvel shit was awful. That, I mean, it looked like they filmed that in somebody's back. Somebody just had a big ass backyard and said, "Yep, let's film Captain Marvel here. Looks like a good spot," and just film it. Like it's terrible. It was awful. And then Brie Larson is just not. Brie Larson just awful. Just. Mm. I was going to try to give it a chance and watch. I'm not gonna pay for that shit. I was gonna watch that shit on the internet. Was it Captain Marvel, the Marvels or whatever? I'm not paying for that shit. They got to work to earn my trust back again before I go and spend some money to watch it. Y'all motherfuckers need to start paying motherfuckers to watch it. I'm not spending my money to watch it. That shit got me fucked up. That first one was so goddamn terrible. I want to give the Marvel a chance, but Barbie was so bad that triggered my alcoholism. I don't know. But to be fair, Loki, I was watching Loki. Loki is not as good as the first season, but it's still good. Loki is and out of all the Marvel shows, I would have thought Loki would have been the one I wouldn't have liked, and that's my favorite one. I didn't care for Daredevil. Um, Okay, I did like the first season of Jessica Jones. Not so much because of Jessica Jones, but because of the Purple Man. I thought it was a David Tennant. His performance at the time of crazy, kind of like menacing actors. He did a great job in the role at the time. I don't think it aged too well. So I think I tried watching clips of it lately, and it just didn't age well. But at the time, I thought he did a great job. Jessica Jones, the first season of Jessica, the second season of Jessica Jones was garbage. That the whole storyline just went to shit real. She was trying to chase her mom down, but her mom didn't like her. I don't know. This shit was terrible. But um, I didn't care for Daredevil. And here's the thing: is not really so much I didn't care for Daredevil because of the dude of the guy who's playing Matt Murdock. I don't really. I mean, I could kind of take him or leave him. I'm not really like addicted to him as Daredevil. They could really replace him, and I wouldn't be too mad. He's not doing a bad job, but the reason why I don't like Daredevil is because of the Kingpin. I think the dude is very overrated. Um, And I think finding somebody to truly play the Kingpin, I think that's a very difficult thing to do. And to truly do it and make it convincing, right? Like I don't care for the guy as Kingpin. I never did. There was never a point. Maybe if he just sits down and talks, I can. But as soon as he has to get up, start moving, that's when it just like falls apart for me. I just don't think he's a convincing Kingpin. I never cared for him, and Kingpin is such an important part of that story that it just kind of brings the whole thing down. And on top of that, I think Daredevil just has a lot of fluff in it. Like it just it I think it's really one of those shows that could have really been summed up in maybe 4 episodes, and it would have hit a lot harder and been a lot more impactful. But I think since they kind of have to make like 13 episodes that are fucking 3 hours a fucking episode, it just really just I don't care for Daredevil. I just don't think it's a good show. Well, it's not a bad show, but I don't think it's a good show, and I don't care for the guy playing Kingpin. I just don't care. But Loki's great. Loki, there's not an actor in there that I don't like. I love the dude who plays Kang. With Jonathan Majors, I love him. I think he's fucking great. I want to see more of him. I just want to see the more I can see of him as Kang, the better. I don't care what version it is. I just want to see more of him play Kang, right? I just want to see him. I want to see Jonathan Majors. I think he does a great. Everybody in the show is doing a great job. Owen Wilson, which I wouldn't have thought. Owen Wilson is doing a great job. Of course, the dude playing Loki. Everybody, little Asian dude in season 2, he does a great job. Everybody does a great job. Loki, that's my show. I wanted WandaVision to be good, but no, WandaVision just I don't know. I don't know what they did to fuck that up. I don't even know. That shit was awful. There was a couple good scenes. Like 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 there was I remember at the end of one episode where the credits start rolling and then Vision went off on her and they cut the credits off. Like some shit like see that was some shit I want. I want to dive more into the psyche of it, not just like oh it was just so much fluff. Like nothing really came. It was just terrible. Like it was so bad. Like that was just a huge just dropped attempt. Right. And here's the reason why I'm bashing Marvel, okay? Because I get people make mistakes, right? Look, my channel is not a million subscriber channel. I know the reality, right? Okay, but motherfucker, look, if you got millions of dollars, you see what I'm saying? If you got millions of dollars and this is what you do, and that's the best you can come up with, that shit was straight trash. All right. Y'all know what else I be thinking about? I would want to bring this up. It's talking about straight trash. Y'all remember Tony Yayo? That motherfucker was garbage. That shit was straight dookie. Cause how I stumbled on Tony Yayo again, right? I was talking to Kratos' mom. And I said, hey, did y'all ever get this over here in Europe? And I start playing her right now. I'm on the edge, so don't push me. Then on the head, so don't push me. I got something for your ass. Keep thinking I'm pussy. That 50 Cent from Get Rich or Die Trying. I say, hey, did y'all ever get this? And she goes, no. And y'all know that little line where it's like Tony Yayo. This is before you knew who Tony Yayo was. He was on that hook and he was like, so don't push me in the background. But his voice sound like he might have been all right? Like his voice sound like he might have been all right. And then everybody's talking about some, yeah, free Yayo. And motherfuckers was waiting for Tony Yayo for like years. Cause Eminem was Eminem. 50 was that he was a one CD wonder. That Get Rich or Die Trying. Pretty much every song on that CD was a hit. And motherfuckers was waiting. But because Alpha Get Ready, 50 had a video game. 50 had 2 video games. His own Vitamin Waters. This motherfucker had clothes. He had G Unit. This motherfucker 50 blew up. Lloyd Banks, he was all right. Cause I had I had Lloyd Banks CD, Obi Trice. Yeah, no, that wasn't it. It 50 was the only one who came out under Eminem's that was hot. Everybody else, like M should have left D12 back. I don't know what the fuck possessed Eminem to think D12 was some hot shit. To this day, I would love to sit down and have a conversation, like a private conversation with Eminem. And I want to know his true opinion on what he thought when he first heard them tracks that D12 put together. Like, I already know he was in the booth and he put that headphone on and he went, oh. It's like, and I bet he did the same shit with Tony Yayo. He heard Tony Yayo actually rap. He was like, okay, hey, all right, we gonna do. He went, dun, 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 dun. Oh shit, no. I mean, his eyes was like of pure embarrassment. Tony Yayo was. All them motherfuckers was garbage. That shit was motherfuckers should have told him, man. Like, that shit was not hot. But here's what was more embarrassing was that Tony Yayo was. I'm pretty sure he was produced totally by Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre couldn't even say that shit. That motherfucker. He just look that shit. When they made that Tony Yayo CD. I remember I tried to like, I really did. I tried to like, I remember when they made that Tony, look, they should have took that master copy, went out to the nearest dumpster they could find, right? Dig a hole, pick that dumpster up, dig a hole about 40 feet deep, throw that CD in that hole and light that motherfucker on fire. Put the dirt over the hole, pick that dumpster and put it on top of the hole so that shit never gets back out. Right? That shit is dookie. Just just no. That shit was not hot. All right, at all. It was nothing hot about it. There was no bars being spit, nothing. This shit was dookie. It was just dookie. Like I get that's your homie, but look, at some point you gotta just look, man. This shit ain't it. This shit ain't it. Just look. Give him a little bit of money because y'all cool like that, and just look, bro. Just it's over. Just you can still holler on our tracks in the background, but don't you ever start rhyming anything ever again, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you even accidentally rhyme cat with hat, you need to just apologize to everybody in the room, all right? Because this is dookie. If you accidentally rhyme cat with that, just start apologizing. Just my bad. Just walk around to the room. Just hand everybody in the room $50. Just apologize because you don't ever need to rhyme anything ever again in your life. All right, at all. Don't even read a kid's rhyme book. Don't even read Cat in the Hat. It should be illegal for Tony Yayo to read Cat in the Hat out loud. That's how bad that CD was. All right, just never ever again. Never again. That shit was horrible. If you, whew, that shit was trash. Just never. It should be illegal for you to rhyme. Just call the police. Cause how do you? But here's the thing. Now here was the weird part. Cause I be listening to some Eminem's other group. What was that? And it really wasn't that bad. I like that song. The lunatics now are in the asylum. The doctors are dead. Doctors are tied up. I really like that. So I like that one. That group was good, and I don't know. I remember Bizarre try. Y'all remember that whack motherfucker from D12? He tried to come out with a. He tried. I remember he tried to have a serious track. That shit was fucking whack. Like that shit, he tried to be serious around. The shit wasn't even on beat half the time, and that shit was awful, man. Like that shit was just terrible. I don't. Whew. It didn't trigger my alcoholism like the Barbie movie, but that shit was bad. All right, like and here's the thing, like a dude like him, like he had to have known. You can't tell me Eminem did not know. You cannot tell me Eminem heard that shit and went like, yeah, that's hot shit. We gon' No, Eminem knew. As much work as Eminem be putting in the rap, writing rhymes, and he heard that. And you mean you really think Eminem thought that shit was? Be real. Be honest with you. I already if Dr. Dre's watching this shit, that motherfucker is that shit was dookie, man. Just stop. Proof wasn't it. I remember Proof because everybody motherfuckers wanted to like Proof. He was about between him and it was I don't know the other one's names, but it was him and one other one. They was the only ones who had some. It sounded like it was together. The rest of the motherfuckers just uh they need some milk. They need some milk. That shit was trash. No love for Vincent. Oh yeah, no, you talking about Kingpin? No, like I never cared for that dude. And it's not really him. It's just the fact that so back to Kingpin, man. Kingpin is just one of those characters. Michael Clark Duncan didn't do a absolutely awful job, but he was just as bad in my opinion. Because okay, the issue with Kingpin and the reason why I always liked him, I always liked the character, is because it's never in the Marvel universe. It's never really clear if he's a mutant or is he augmented or is he just a regular dude who's that fat and can move that agile, right? Because he fucks around and can beat up. You mean some very agile. He can catch them. You mean and this motherfucker is Kingpin is supposed to be very agile, right? So again, okay, for anybody who watched like the animated series, like Spider-Man animated series, something like that, like the Vincent dude, I think it's just too hard to find a dude like that who's also willing to act and and act well and shit like that. That's a very niche area. If anything, I think it just has to be like more CGI to be convincing that he could do all that. Like, because in the show, I think the Punisher comes across him in the TV in the Netflix show, and it's just not believable. I just can't believe it. From somebody who's supposed to be the Kingpin and how he's fighting like the Punisher, or in any live action sequence, it's just not believable. Like you could tell, like they're clearly like trying to they're clearly accommodating for a fat motherfucker who's just fat, right? Like or not I would say a fat, just a big dude who's just big. Like they're trying to like make it believe, and it just never looks right to me. Because Michael Clark Duncan, he was about the best part of the Daredevil movie. I didn't have too much of an issue with the Daredevil movie at the time. A lot of people didn't like it. Um, I didn't have. It was a little cheesy because they didn't know what they was doing yet, and superhero movies. But I didn't have too much of a problem with it. It's like the guy they put in a fat suit in a John Wick. Yeah, was like the Russian. Was he the Russian dude? Yeah, but yeah, because he kept giggling all the goddamn time, which is fucking weird. I don't know why he kept going. He kept doing that shit. Why would they put him like? Why not just hire a fat dude? Like I said, like with Colin Farrell and Batman when he played Penguin, right? Like, why not just hire a fat dude to play the role? Why are you gonna spend this money on this skinny dude and then spend all this money on a fat suit? I mean, that just seems too. I don't know why. I just think that was dumb. Particularly Colin Farrell as Penguin. I think that was just very stupid to do that. Um, but yeah, the new John Wick was good. I liked it. I did like it. I liked it. I think like it early on. I remember just feeling like, oh yeah, the Keanu, he didn't got old. I mean, he's starting to move where his whole fight scene is him literally just going, but everybody else around him's like going like, and he just doing kind of like the Steven Seagal. Because he's like blocking the hits, and the suit jacket's like flying up, so it looks like he's doing a lot more than he's actually doing, kind of thing. Or he'll fall to the ground and just kind of like roll over. He's like rolling over, all like, yeah, Keanu, yeah, them knees ain't working too well. The knees ain't working like they used to work. Keanu, I can see that shit. The knees ain't moving like they used to move. He didn't got old. You know what I mean? But it was I liked it. Um, I didn't like the black dude. I didn't like the black guy. Um, and the reason why I didn't like the black guy is because he reminded me of Denzel Washington's son. Was it Denzel Washington's son? I don't even know, but he reminded me of Denzel Washington's son, and that's why. Okay, well, I think pretty much every actor in Tenet was just a miscast. I think just that whole acting ensemble was just a miscast. That shit would have been better off as a comic book. Then I might have watched it all the way through. But I didn't care for the black dude in John Wick 4, is it? Because he reminded me of Denzel Washington's son on in his face, right? And which sounds mean. That sounds mean. But but the reason why I didn't like Denzel Washington's son in Tenet, I didn't like anybody in Tenet, to be honest. I didn't like the movie. I liked the soundtrack, but I thought all the actors were just horribly miscast. Denzel Washington's son, kind of every time you kind of seen him, well, every time you seen him on camera, he always was just walking like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm cool." And that's what the dude looked the black dude in John. He was just kind of like, it just kind of that same aura of, you mean, like his whole was like, yeah, I got $3 million. I'll do it for $10 million. But what do you mean? Like it's just that with his eyes open and like he's like trying to hold back a smirk and trying to walk like you mean like you could tell like before the take like all his friends was around him and they say, yeah, come on, yeah, knock out the park, okay, yeah, buddy, and then what do you mean? You know what I mean, like that Denzel Washington son shit, like shit was awful, man. It was terrible. I just didn't care for him. I thought he was a bad actor. I thought he was a bad actor. Who I think is a great black actor. Well, one, Jonathan Majors is Kang. I think he does a great job. And the dude who played Hotel Artemis. Hotel Artemis, I think, is a great. Now, this is one thing I tell my girl about because she never seen it. One, I always have a crush on white women who end up gay. I've always had a crush on Jodie Foster. Um, but two, Hotel Artemis, the black dude who played in, well, both the black dudes and played a Hotel Artemis, because the other because okay, in Hotel Artemis there was two main black dudes. They was brothers, and the one brother had gotten shot, and they had to take him to Hotel Artemis. So okay, so real quick, what Hotel Artemis is about is Jodie Foster is running this hotel where she's a doctor, and she fixes up people that got shot robbing banks. He's doing something illegal, and they can't go to the hospital, so they come to her to fix them. And the police can't come in there, nothing like that. Some shit like that, right? Well, where the movie picks up is these two black dudes. They was robbing banks with some other guys, and they got to go to the hotel because the brother got I think the younger brother got shot. Now the younger brother, that black dude, he played in the movie Eternals as the gay dude, and I love him. I think he's a great black actor. I love that dude, man. I'm a big fan of his. If I ever see him, I already like I know I'm gonna like what I'm getting ready to see when I see him. It's the black dude who played in the Eternal. He played the gay dude in the Eternals, and because he did a movie with Jessica Lawrence too. I think he had an amputated leg or something like that. I ended up watching. I think my girl was watching that. I ended up watching it with her. He did a great job in there too. I just love him, man. And both so he was a great black actor, and the black dude, his brother in that movie did a great. He did a pretty good job too. But I like the bigger the fat dude better. I don't know, he's not fat, but he's just bigger. He's just the bigger dude. But yeah, they like, yeah, like Tenet was probably good, man. I just couldn't. I just thought every single actor and actress was just a miscast. Another movie I watched was Mission Impossible. Was it Last Reckoning or something like that? Um, it's pretty good. I'm not a Mission Impossible fan, but it was good. I liked it. I liked it. Have you seen Bullet Train? I did see it. Yeah, weird. Strangely enough, that's with Brad Pitt, isn't it? I did. Yeah, I seen that. I seen it. I didn't dislike it, but yeah, I seen it because yeah, because I think he had a British accent in that, or like maybe not a British accent, but he had one of them UK type accents in it. I think. Yeah, yeah, with Brad Pitt, I did see that. I didn't dislike it. I just wasn't ready for like the way of the storytelling that it was. Like I was like kind of expecting something different, so I think that kind of warped my perception of it. So I'm not gonna say I definitely dislike it. I definitely did not dislike it. I just was maybe I need to watch it again. So now that I know the kind of like the way they approach telling a story, kind of, I just had a different expectation in my head of it. I think before I walked into it. Um, but yeah, it was. I didn't dislike it, but yeah, yeah. 2024 AD not liking black dude and films makes you racist against the black community. What's up, RT? Yeah, I was sick last week, man. I was like fucked up last week. I'm gonna get off here in a bit. Guy in the fat suit in John Wick was Scott Atkins. He does martial arts at martial art. Okay, didn't know who he was at all, but okay, cool. But yeah, not liking a black dude in a movie, yeah, means you hate the whole. Okay. Yeah, Tenet was so bad because me and my girl, we actually met another couple there, where the girl, she was from America and the guy was from, I think, he was an American. I can't remember where he was from, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't Africa either. I can't remember where he was from. But we met another interracial couple there, and we sat next to him, and we was eating popcorn because my girl, she liked to get nachos, so I out treat her to the fucking $5 nachos when we go out to eat. Or we'll go out to see a movie. Um, and it was so bad, like we both agree, yeah, we need to just let's just go home because this is just too bad. Maybe the story was really good. Again, for me, it was just the acting. It was the cliche Russian mobster story that's just been used a million times. Yeah, he's a Russian and he sells guns and he's a gangster, and then like just none of the acting was really good. Or either it just wasn't good or people were just horribly just not for the role kind of thing. Like I think the Patterson, the guy who played Batman, that just wasn't really for him. And I really, and to be fair, I really don't think Batman's for him either. But I just don't think I just think he just didn't do a bad job. So I don't mind seeing him as Batman again. But so to put in perspective of the what's his name, Chris Patterson, I don't know what the fucking guy's name is. The guy who did Twilight, right? Here's what will make it look weird is they're putting the Batman suit in the Arkham series games, right? Now, imagine the Twilight the Batman dude in the Arkham game instead of Kevin Conroy's voice Batman and that and all that, right? It just doesn't even match up, right? It doesn't fit, right? Like it just doesn't fit at all. Christian Bale's really doesn't fit, but and I never really cared for Christian Bale as Batman either, but he was better than the Pattinson. Now I don't mind seeing either one of them again. If Bale or Pattinson came back to do it again, I wouldn't be mad, but they don't fit. So before I get off here, I wanted to talk about this picture. That's why I got it up. So I think that situations like this are going to happen a lot more in the West, right? Because I was talking to my dad about it last week. I said, "Yeah, I seen where this dude, he kidnapped a woman and her eyes were all black and all, And I said, like, I don't. Here's the thing, like, I don't advocate men beating up women, right? I don't advocate that at all. Are there women who probably deserve it? Of course, there's women who deserve to get beat the fuck up, right? And I'm not jumping to protect a woman if I see her getting beat up, because chances are she probably did something to deserve it, right? And probably did more than enough to deserve it, right? Um, but this, this is gonna get more and more out of control. This scenario right here, like I really think that this is just gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse, right? And I think all it's gonna take is it's all it's gonna take is it's gonna be enough time to where sooner or later some guy's gonna stand up and be like, yeah, this is all right, and and guys are gonna agree, right? And the reason I say that is because, and I told my dad, I said, I think it should be illegal for women to take advice from other women. And it's really getting to the point where where women just really don't need to be making decisions because they don't have any reality, any awareness of reality. Okay. So and with that being said, we have to get very clear very early on that the only reason why women are safe, have any food to eat, have any shelter, all this is because men are giving it to them. Right? We have to make that straight right off the bat, right? If it wasn't for men, that woman wouldn't be she wouldn't have that shirt she's wearing right now. Right? Historically speaking, right? The only reason any woman on earth is walking around safe is because a man is protecting her, right? So I think that order right off the bat in the world needs to be addressed before anything else continues, right? But I think where a woman is messing up is, see, they're thinking all this is just an automatic. See, woman in a woman in a child's mind, she thinks that McDonald's just grows out the ground. See, that woman thinks that Louis Vuitton just grows off a tree and you just pick it off and go sell it, right? Regardless of who owns the land at the tree or the Louis Vuitton trees on it. And these are the deeper realities of it. So step one, we have to understand that the only reason why women are in any are safe at all or any kind of peace, women have food to eat, they have warmth, is because a man is providing it for them, right? We have to make that clear first to make it clear in the world, throughout the world, right? If there is no man, there is no women, right? Right? Or at least a certain quality of life above the animals, right? So, with that being said, the women have gone haywire, right? And the women are saying they're continually upping the requirements of men that should talk to them, right? And I can see why they would come to that conclusion, because women let loose on the internet and online dating, women have learned that, oh, all I have to do is just be a woman, and there's always going to be tons of men chasing me for my pussy because I'm a woman, right? So what does that lead the woman to do? Well, she has to create a filtering process to work through the copious amounts of cock in her DMs, right? So what would anybody do? They're gonna filter out to the highest of the highest of the high, right? Just like any job market's gonna do. If Target got 1 million applicants, well, what are they gonna? What would be the best and efficient way for them to go through the applicants? They're gonna sift through to get the best of the best of the best of the hiring. Generally speaking, that's what people are going to do, right? So what they're doing isn't abnormal initially, right? But the reality of what that's doing, the reality of women, they're pushing their, oh, now the guy has to be 6 foot tall and blah, blah, blah. And if you're not 6'3", then don't talk to me and blah, 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 blah. See, while women are doing that, what they're doing is they're just beating down and trampling 95% of the male population, right? So you got 95% of the male population. Well, let's okay. In her age, in the age groups that once you deduce age groups and all this shit like that, it's going to be 90 and 95%, right? Age groups, limbs that weren't amputated, whatever the fuck, right? By the time you get just that population of men that women unanimously in the West have agreed that are the top choices, they're talking about 5% of men, right? So what that's doing is that's telling the other 95% of men every day that they're not good enough, right? Out of 100 men, 95 men are constantly bombarded every day that they're not good enough. Either TV and the news said that, oh, well, men rape and kill, and then the man tries going online dating. These 95% of men going online dating, they don't get matches, they're not getting text back, they can't get a date, or they get ghosted, and this continuously happens over time, right? What is that doing to that 95% of men? And I told my dad, this is why I told my dad, I said, look, yeah, see, right now, the men, see, this is just the beginning phase. We're still in the beginning phase of this, because this really just took off in the last 10 years with online shit and women truly finding out what they can get away with, right? See, right now, men are in the bargaining phase. Right? They go, oh, well, I guess I can go to school and work on myself and get muscles as well, get $100,000 a month job. And I guess I could do that. See, the men are still in this bargaining phase. Right? Right. But it's only so long you can keep pushing a motherfucker down and keep punching him in the face and trampling him before he's finally going to start fighting back. Right? If you keep raising the price for your pussy till you just outprice the entire market, right? And this is a biological need. See, those men, those 95% of men, give it time. Like, they're going to start fighting back. And where I started this conversation, or where I started this speech, is, okay, men are the ones who are in charge for women's safety and well-being. Right? What is that? Did that thumb come up because I did a thumbs up? I don't know if you guys seen that. Anyway, what's up, Jen? Men are in charge of women's safety and well-being, right? So you got 95% of men growing more. They're really getting more angry and bitter every day because women are just trampling all over them, right? And that bargaining phase is going to come to an, they're going to have bargaining fatigue after a while. See, just like Ukraine, motherfuckers got donation fatigue on Ukraine. They just got tired of doing it. Right? So to put in perspective, I told my dad this. Let's put it in the perspective. I'm not saying like he didn't notice, but this is just a conversation I was having with him. Let's say like the grocery store, right? You go to the grocery store and you're used to buying a bag of potatoes for $2, right? And you spend $2 to buy a bag of potatoes to eat, because you got to eat, right? Well, now the grocery store raised the prices to $2.60. Like, oh, okay, here's $2.60, right? Then 6 months later, they raise it to $4.20, right? And you be like, fuck, they raised the prices again. What the fuck? Yo, I don't know. They must be crazy, right? 6 months later, they raise it to $7.80, right? See, now motherfuckers going like, well, maybe I just can't get no potatoes. Maybe, then motherfuckers will start looking for advice on the internet. How do I get potatoes for $7.80? Well, just do. And motherfuckers start giving them, advice on how to maybe reallocate their finances, right? But then they start raising the price of potatoes to $25 a bag, right? And you still got to eat, right? See, the reality of these scenarios is see that bargaining this whole bargaining phase that the dating market is in now is just like the bargaining phase when it comes to raising prices of food, right? See, in the beginning, when it's still cute to play along with the social norms, motherfuckers will go, oh, okay, I guess I'll find a way to better myself to afford this sack of potatoes. They'll do that at first, but if you keep pricing motherfuckers out the market, guess what's gonna happen next? Motherfuckers gonna say, fuck it. It's time to rape, rob, and steal to get what I need. And that's what women are setting themselves up for. Right? If you went to that grocery store and groceries you was used to spending $80 on is now gonna be $430. See, it's gonna be a whole lot more rapes and murders and batter and physical assaults happening out there, right? Because they've been you're just flat out pricing motherfuckers out the market to the point where bargaining ain't got nothing to do with it no more. Biological needs have to be met. Right. Now, again, a woman's counter argument could be, oh, we don't owe you sex. Okay, yeah, you're right. You don't. Right. But these are biological needs. And you trying to bogart your way into thinking you something valuable. Well, okay, what comes with being valuable, being valuable and needing protection go hand in hand, right? So as a woman, you cannot protect yourself independently. You need a man to protect you, right? And if you don't have a man to protect you, the other men will come and just harass you, like whales do. That's in nature. The female lions and whales, that shit happens in nature, right? If she don't go out and find a man to protect her, those lesser male animals will come and harass the fuck out of her and kill her to rape her, right? And again, I don't advocate this shit. This is just nature. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at nature, right? Because I already know where this is going. The women think, oh, well, it's my body and well, you got to control your urges. Okay, I mean, hey, we can play that game if you want to, right? Go tell them starving motherfuckers to control their urges of hunger and see how that work out. Control your urges. Yeah, see, that control your urges works well as long as everybody playing along with them same rules. And that's where we are now. Where we are now, the majority of society is trying to bargain along with it. Okay, maybe I can get better. Maybe I can break my leg so I can be 5 inches taller. Okay, maybe I can do that. Right? But give it time. See, that bargaining phase ain't going to last forever. And I said, about 2 weeks ago? See, these women now, they're setting their daughters and granddaughters up to be beat up and raped. Right? And I hate to say it, but that's how this shit's adding up. At this rate, one way or another. So let's go into one way or another, right? So one way was what I said earlier. Motherfuckers are just gonna get tired of playing a bargaining game, and I think men are gonna this is gonna happen a whole lot more. This is gonna happen a whole lot more, right? Because men are just tired of it. They don't want to hear this shit. This whole you've got to respect. Look, the only reason why men are respecting anything is because they're in that bargaining phase of thinking they're gonna get some pussy out of you later on. That's the only reason why men are doing it, right? Now, that's the one way. The one way or another. Now, the other way is, let's say all these women in the West who are claiming they want the top 5% of men, right? And statistically speaking, historically, women would rather fuck their own father if their father was the king, or they'd rather fuck their own brothers and fathers instead of go out there and fuck peasants, right? It's just woman's nature. What to be woman is to be prostitute. She can't help it, right? But now, once you count an entire country doing that, right? All these women saving their pussies for the top 5% of men, what's gonna happen? Well, what is happening now? The population's going down, right? So what does that spell inevitably? If your population is going down, and on top of that, richer, wealthier countries have higher suicide rates, right? Once you factor all that in, your population is dwindling, which means what? Those smaller, those poorer countries, they just slowly building up, getting better. Technology's making it to them. And America, UK, Australia, y'all get run over. Right? You just gonna get run over in time because you ain't gonna have nobody to fight. Because women want because she wanted her her 6-figure man. Right? Right? So then what's gonna happen? When they get run over, taken over, yeah, see them poor countries, they gonna come in and they gonna fuck up and they gonna rape all them young women there at the time. They gonna take them, fuck them, rape them, whatever the fuck. They gonna take that pussy. They gonna take them 2-3 generations later. They gonna come and take all that pussy, right? So that's why I say one way or another, right? It's, in my opinion, it's not looking too good for women in the West, in Western countries that are on this whole, I've got to have a certain caliber of man, of the highest class of man, and all. It's not looking too good. Now, was this specific woman one of those women? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Was this specific woman a woman who she only wanted a 6-figure man and blah 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 blah, and she was on all that rhetoric? I don't know. I have no way of knowing, right? But the woman climate in media is by far summing up all the shit. It's either summing up or it's warping the reality for more women and men in the dating market, right? In my opinion, I think this is going to happen a lot more. I think it's going to and I think it's going to get to the point where it's going to be commonplace because men are just going to grow too frustrated or too mad. Like I say, one reason or another. Okay, what fits into the other is guys like me, guys who just left the country to start a family somewhere else, right? Inevitably leaving his home country and leaving the population to go down, right? It's the same thing, right? I think that I don't want women to go through this. This would not be any guy's first choice. You know, like I told my baby, my like I told my spouse, I said, look, no man wakes up in the morning wanting to be like to be a piece of shit to women, you know, or there's not a man who wakes up wanting to be mean to a woman to get her and all that shit like that. It's the women who facilitate that, right? It's the women who facilitate dressing their daughters up to be appealing to men when they're fucking 9 years old. It's the women doing that. Because I've told her, look, when it comes to dressing little 9-year-old girls up in makeup and skin tight booty pants and belly shirts, okay, you can go to the most roughest prisons on earth and ask all those men would they want their daughters walking around dressing like that? You wouldn't find a man in there to say yep. Every one of those men would be like, no, I want my daughter wearing that, right? It's the women who do that. And until society realizes it's this is inevitable. Now the thing is, well, let me see, catch the newscaster. See now this little white woman can go hide off in the hills for a while, where she can still kind of run that game. See, she doesn't have to worry about it quite yet because she's a pretty educated white woman. She don't have to worry about this so much quite yet. See, she's further down the line with it. But see, this little girl, yeah, see, she ain't up there yet. And like all hard times, it always hits the poorer people first before it hits the richer people. The richer people always can always hold out longer, right? Right. Yeah. I think that's horrible. I think that's horrible. Like yo, like for real, like okay, from my perspective, like how the fuck do you even get that much energy up to even just punch a bitch like in both, like directly in both of her eyes? Like how do you even just have that that amount of energy to want to expel on a woman like that? You see, like I don't get it, right? Her eyes are black and swollen shut, dude. That girl is fucked up. My signal was lagging. Was it lagging? I'm sorry, it was lagging. Yeah, I don't see it. But yeah, I'm not saying you lying, but sorry it was lagging. But yeah, I feel man like this is where they headed. It's where they headed. Because and here's the thing, if you let it go, women they're just gonna keep raising their standards, being shittier to me. Because women are running the game on the internet. Women are running that initial social game on the internet, right? So if anything, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. Because my dad was saying like, and I used to say this at first, brothels in America would fix a lot of that. Now I take that back. I take that back now. I don't think brothels will fix it. I think the problem's too far gone. I think because I remember I knew one girl. She loved America because she said yeah, in America guys would just send you $500 just to talk to them, right? She loved it. I don't think now looking back on it, I don't think brothels will fix it. I think the problem's just too far gone because at this point, like the world knows how pathetic the West is with women, right? The entire world is it's no secret. Okay, the world knows how bad American women are. The world knows that UK women usually look like shit the majority of the time. I mean, you'll have your pockets of attractive women here or there, but for the most part, they look awful. It's no secret in the rest of the world. It's absolutely no secret. Now, women may not know, but well, the American women may not know. But no, the world knows. The world knows. Okay, the world is fully aware. So the reason why I don't think brothels will fix it is because women, okay, like a brothel workers here already okay, they know what to ask for when they go to North America because they know North American men are beaten down. So even if you were to pick up Show Park and just put it in North America, from the women's perspective here, they'll just slap a price of $20,000 on a pussy and just see what happens because they already know. Now they know that they can't get away with that here. They can't get it out here. They can't get away with that. But in America, somebody will spend it. Somebody will give her $10,000 just to sit up and look at her because American men are just beaten down right now. It's pathetic. I agree. Brothels would slow things down, but we are too far gone to stop without a regular. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think up front brothels could slow things down a bit, but in my opinion, I think all that would happen is the all the women would just kind of get together and just learn to charge more, and it would just be the same thing. They would just be a million men coming for a small group of women, and the women would just filter out all the men until she gets the highest pay and just deal with that, right? I think it would be the same thing. I think it would just be the same thing over. I used to say I thought brothels would fix it, but now in the reality of what they call like shit like game theory type of shit, in the reality of it, I don't. I think it would just come. American men, America's just too far gone. It's just too far gone. They would just end up charging $15,000 for a pussy and get it. Especially with this physical quality over there, they would get that. But yeah, I'm gonna let y'all go because it's getting late and I'm still sick. So, yo, thanks everybody. Tuned in, like, subscribe, donate. Yo, Snap Feather. I'll do that probably tomorrow, Thursday. Hopefully, I feel a bit better. But yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in, like, subscribe, donated, commented, and I catch y'all on the flippity flip, man. Hope y'all had a good time and peace out.